Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you, Chad?
I'm good. Nobody else was going to say good morning to you, so I thought I'd come off mute and say hello.
I appreciate that. Maybe it's a slow start to the Friday.
It is all good. It is Friday, and Thanksgiving is next week, and then almost done with 2020, hopefully.
Almost done. What, 5 more Mondays until Christmas, so we can do that.
What day of the week is it on?
Thursday is Christmas Eve, I think. Got any plans, Chad, for Thanksgiving? Are you staying put?
No, we're actually, my in-laws have a house at the beach, so we're going down and hanging out with them. So nothing that I wouldn't be doing normally other than driving to the beach. So.
Yep. Very nice. Sure, it'll be a good change of scenery.
Yes, I am burnt out. So I'm like, can we go to the beach? I need somewhere other than here.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Alex.
Everybody doing?
Good.
It seems like we all of our bodies know that it's Friday.
Yes.
I would say so. How are you, Alina?
Good. Yeah, good.
You're in an office, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in my office. Well, the office. Are you guys all working from home?
Pretty much. Well, a couple of us will come in every once in a while for just something new. But
I'm actually en route to the office now.
so we'll get started here around 9.
Kelly, I'm still not used to seeing you without the beard. The mustache is very new.
It is very different.
Wait, can't hear you, Kelly.
Oh, we had a Kelly sighting.
I think he's talking.
I didn't even notice. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. Hello, Kelly. It's nice to see you in a different form.
Kind of thought it was Ron Swanson at first glance there.
Is he talking to us? All right, I'm just gonna make sure I can share good here. Val, all good. Can you just see the slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Kelly and Ken aren't twins anymore, and it's making me sad.
No, I did see, Ken, your beard's gone too.
Yeah, I decided to de-age about 12 years.
I decided to age about 20.
Hopefully, luckily, it's a November specific look for you.
Oh yeah, it's coming back. I do not like shaving every day.
Same.
Kelly, any plans for your first Thanksgiving married?
We're having the in-laws over the new house. Still trying to figure out my parents and what we're going to do, whether we're going to go up to Roanoke or stay here. Steph's school, there's a little bit of a COVID cluster that appeared, so we're kind of playing it safe and quarantining a little bit, staying away from people. but I think we're fine.
Kelly, I didn't realize your wife was a teacher. Where does she teach?
Yeah, she's for Forsyth County at Whitaker Elementary. She's an elementary
Okay.
art teacher. She's actually teaching
Oh.
a first grade class right now. So as soon as we get into things, I'm totally gonna mute just in case there's like first graders screaming at her.
It's all good. My wife teaches 8th grade middle school. Well, she's middle school certified, but she teaches 8th grade. So everybody's like, wow, how does she do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't. I couldn't teach college kids, let alone like
It's tough. That's
Well, that's what she says. She's just like, it's a tough age group, and she's taught 6th, 7th, and 8th, and she's in her 16th year, and she says by far 8th grade's her favorite. So
I can see that.
yeah.
I had student taught at a middle school, and it was middle school band, and there was 7th grade percussionists after gym. That was a whole thing. It was gross and wild.
We're good friends with the band teacher at her middle school, and I don't see how she's like teaching she's teaching like music theory and stuff like right now, because they have to share instruments, and they literally can't do it right now. It's interesting. So
all of the teachers, like, they're just absolutely killing it with some of the creative stuff happening and all of the craziness that's going on in terms of cleaning and cleaning products, and like everybody's scrambling. So shout out to all of our teachers.
Yeah, for real.
Good morning, all. Kelly, I will say that it's good to see you, first of all. It's been a while. Second of all, although I'm participating in No Shave November myself, seeing the glory of this Movember mustache, I will please send me the link, and I will be contributing today, because that is glorious. It is worth it.
Awesome. For sure. It's been nice because, like, going to the grocery store and whatever, I've got a mask right here, so the general public has not had to experience it, thank goodness. But yeah, it's every day I wake up and Steph looks at me and she's like, "You're not the man I married."
Oh yeah, if you were walking down the street maskless, I would probably not recognize you. That is glorious. Chad, what's going on, my friend?
I'm good. The captain came out yesterday.
Did it?
He presented at the Greenville Hug yesterday. So
The captain. I love that you have a completely alter ego that you use for presentation. And I thought about you on Halloween. I was like, today would have been an appropriate day to have Chad do a hug event.
Well, I did. The captain came out at Halloween. We went and saw family and everything. And then my other alter ego is Chaz, my 80s persona. So he comes out every now and then.
I need to see Chaz.
Yeah, I got the 80s mullet wig. So he came out. He owns a fishing charter company. So I did
what else
screen. Yeah, I did a split screen for a presentation I had to do. It was like 10 minutes, and I interviewed myself. So that was challenging in and of itself, and trying to edit that. But it was funny because he got very colorful when he started talking about Captain Nemo, because they're in competition. So he I had to bleep him out quite a bit. So
that's funny.
But my thing is, if I can't make fun of myself, then what am I doing?
Well, you're setting the bar pretty high for Emily and Val today. That's what you're saying.
No, I have not.
You need to turn off the camera, ladies, and go adjust it. It sounds like
That's okay. The 80s are coming back.
I really was hoping
My
for
wife
some
says like all the
costumes,
middle
but
school boys. Yeah, Amber says all the middle school boys want like all the fluorescent colors and everything like we did in the 80s. I'm like, oh God.
And scrunchies
Yeah.
on the wrist, which
We
was
can leave the
always
big
a
hair,
gymnastics thing
but
for me.
mullets are back because my sister-in-law does hair. And she's just like, I'm getting known for doing mullets for guys. I don't know if I like this or not.
I think we need to establish if mullets ever left. I think they've always been back.
For a few people.
Yes.
They just traveled the world. They lived pretty strongly in Spain.
I can see that.
I don't know. I feel like Canada's got a lot of mullets up there. I feel like it's cold, you know, gotta keep the back of your neck warm.
Your neck. Oh.
Well, I can't say anything. My son wanted a mullet too, so my sister-in-law did it one time, and his mom was like, "No more." So, Ryan, what was it like presenting an inbound? That was pretty cool.
It was different, Chad. Different. Yeah, it was. I think it's a lot tougher than people realize when you can't gauge the audience and be able to see the audience and play off of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny. And going back and looking at the comments, like when I got my reviews and such, all of them were pretty good except for a few. And some people were like, he seems condescending. And I'm like, ding, 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 you got it.
Wow, you did good. I mean,
some of them were kind of personal, but that's okay. It was fine. It was a good experience.
Well, I mean, not just because you're here, but I mean, I checked it out. I was just like, I know that guy. I'm going to that one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
it was a good session. I got a lot out of it.
Well, thanks. I'm glad it wasn't a complete waste. I should have went the costume route. Clearly, I think I would have probably performed a bit better if I'd gone the costume route. But yeah,
General rule.
General rule. But yeah, it was fun though. It was fun. The Q&A afterwards. I mean, given the fact that it was one-way Q&A, I still think that went really well. And the way they built the platform for Reddit-like features as far as voting up was good too, to be able to see what people actually cared about. So my gut tells me we'll be right back there again next year.
I just got out of Dan Tyler's boot camp, and he's kind of echoed that sentiment. So,
yeah, Alex and I, Brian Halligan set up time for Alex and I in the last day of Inbound just to chat. And one of the things that he said at that point in time, he was like, hey, so how do you think Inbound was? And we're like, are you asking because you're trying to figure out if it was good enough, or are you asking because we're trying to gauge what to do next year? And he was like, yeah, a little of both. So I think realistic. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to figure out some in-person component, but also some virtual component as well. So.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I was just I would sit there and I'd watch, and it was so back to back that I was just like, by the 3 o'clock, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'll just catch the replays on these. I'm zoomed out.
Yeah.
And then I read an article, and there's a thing called Zoom fatigue, and I was just like, that's it. That's what I had.
Yeah. That is fair. That said, I can't tell you how many times I got more out of it this time from just the ability to view the content. Because when you're at Inbound, you're just going in so many different directions. Sometimes it's hard to be able to see what you want to see. So,
well, and that was one thing that I did like about the online format was because you'll go and you'll get in a session, and it's really bad. They're name dropping or just talking about their own product, and it's basically an advertisement, and it sucks. And you feel bad about getting up in the middle of it and leaving. But with online, I did not. I'm like, you suck. I'm leaving. I got work to do.
No shame. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you won't know that I left.
Awesome. All right, Val, what do you say? Should we get started?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Awesome. 9 o'clock. Yeah, we appreciate you guys kind of hopping on early. It's nice to just kind of get some chit chat going on these days, especially when we're kind of stuck at our at-home offices. So we're taking advantage of any of the space time we can get. So with that said, we'll get started with today's presentation on scaling your site to convert with CMS Hub.
Yeah, my name is Valerie Kuba. I work on the account management client service side for Stratagon. Worked for several years here, have good bit of experience with working on both sides of the website process. We've served from like a consultative standpoint, concepting. So I've seen some of the pain points and challenges from a management side, internal supporting our clients, and also have heard pain points from those whose sites we've helped to launch. So I've worked with several different platforms as well, Hubspot being one of them. Also, I'm an avid hiker and I love plants. It's gotten a little bit out of control in quarantine. Yeah, it's a quarantine hobby that's spiraled a little bit.
And I am Emily Murphy. I'm an account manager here at Stratagon as well. I work on accounts within the agriculture, SaaS, recruiting, staffing industries. You see my name kind of around the Triad Hug user group, along with the Stratagon team. We kind of head things up here. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I attended Sacred Heart University, studied business marketing. I've worked for a few different agencies in Charlotte, all hubs within the HubSpot realm. So I've had a good bit of experience there and touched a lot of different marketing activities within the hub. And I am a wino. That is Val's got plants, I got wine as my hobby. So in an educational sense. All right, to start today's conversation, we kind of want to put the microphone in y'all's hands. Answer us this: what would you say is your company's greatest goal? You can drop your answer in the comments section. We'll kind of get a gauge of what the top priorities are, at least this year as we start planning into going into 2021 as well. Is it within, brand awareness, ranking with the search engines, increasing web traffic, all of the above? Val, can you see the chat?
Yeah, I can.
What are we seeing? A good bit of generating leads, that kind of thing?
Lead gen in targeted markets, 2021, do more video, building an intelligent website that scales with our business, increase SQLs, using more testing features.
Awesome.
It's good news.
If you mentioned anything along the lines of lead generation, new customers, sales deals, all of the above, you're within the majority. For marketers, lead generation is one of the greatest goals. If we generate qualified leads for our sales team and our sales team can close those leads, our companies make money. Now for another question, would you say that your website supports that goal of converting leads? In other words, are you driving traffic to a site that is educating users and converting users? And if so, are those leads coming in qualified? Could be a bit of a rhetorical question, just kind of setting us up for today's discussion. So in reality, your website should be your hardest working lead generation machine. But for most of us, our web and content management platforms keep us from getting the full value out of our websites. Truthfully, if you're sending traffic to a website that is difficult to manage, report on, and optimize, you're wasting valuable time, resources, and money. Kind of let that sink in for a little bit. This was such a common problem for businesses that our friends at HubSpot knew they had to help solution for it. So in April 2020, HubSpot launched CMS Hub, which is our topic for today. In its basic sense, CMS Hub is a content management system that offers speed, security, and scalability to growing businesses like yours. This integrated, easy to use, and deeply powerful content management system allows multiple stakeholders within your company, from your IT and development teams to your sales and marketing teams, to work in tandem on everything from minor content updates to major website upgrades. We plan to get into detail today on the various integrated elements and tools you'll have access to within the platform to ultimately achieve better lead conversion rates on your site. Before we begin, just worth noting a few things. First, rather important, there are 2 tiers of the CMS Hub, Enterprise and Professional. There are some differences between the 2. It really just depends on where your company is in their growth stage. As a bit of a disclaimer, throughout today's presentation, we'll cover all of the CMS Hub, Enterprise and Professional. We have plans to send out a handful of resource links after, one of which being kind of the pricing breakdown of what's included in both. So you can see really what you're getting for Professional or Enterprise. Second, Val and I are really just going to scratch the surface of things today. As we found throughout kind of pulling this presentation together, we could go into further detail around many of these tools and strategies discussed. After today's presentation, if you have any questions or want to pick our brains on anything further, feel free to do so. We also plan to share the recording of this presentation and slides with resources in the notes section. All right, let's get into it. So what's included in CMS Hub? We want to first start with what's included around web management. So think IT and development. We're going to kind of get those out of the way. With CMS Hub on the website management side of things, you gain peace of mind knowing that your site is secure. At the basic level, you'll have access to Hubspot's content delivery network, a critical component of nearly any modern web application. 24/7 security and threat detection, 99.99% uptime, a standard SLL certificate, something that alone can run you a couple $100s a year elsewhere. Design-wise, even the entry-level marketer can build beautiful web pages without the help of a developer. With the basic level, you gain access to HubSpot's drag and drop editor tool, a marketplace of website themes and templates to customize, multi-language content creation, which is important for those of us marketing to customers in different countries with different language preferences, and HubSpot's dynamic content platform, HubDB, which allows you to create a dynamic page for every row in a data table with its own unique SEO-friendly URL. These are just some of the main features. There are additional features for security and development, but these are definitely the highlights. So with that said, as you can see, CMS Hub removes the technical web management burden from you and your team, allowing you to focus on the strategic optimization of your website for lead conversion. Let's take a look at what we mean. Director of Product Management at HubSpot, Angela DeFranco, said, marketers at growing companies have a lot of things to think about, and managing their CMS should not be one of them. She went on to say, most CMS platforms available today make website management more complicated and painful as time goes by. They put a limit on what's possible. They have a ceiling, but rapidly scaling companies like yours don't. I'm delighted with CMS Hub. We're offering users a powerful system that removes unnecessary gatekeepers, democratizes the web management process, and makes it easy for them to execute their boldest ideas. Truly, Andrea is correct. As marketers, our goal shouldn't be managing a website. It should be driving traffic to our site and converting the traffic into marketing qualified leads.
Emily's hit a good bit on the management side of things. What we found, we gauged, even just in registration for this event, we wanted to gauge what everyone's using. We know that frequently people will use a separate hosting platform for their website, and then we'll typically integrate in with HubSpot tools, some semblance of CRM sales tools. We really want to focus today on how CMS Hub helps offload some of that stress of the actual web management side of things and gives you all more time back in focusing on driving traffic, gaining insights, and then optimizing the website based on those insights to convert.
So if you're truly following the strategy of using your site as a lead generation tool, you have to ensure that you are driving the right traffic to your site. If you're not filling that visitors bucket with qualified traffic, you can't expect leads. While your campaign efforts are driving traffic, maintaining a site that is SEO optimized is a crucial step in maintaining your website. In the CMS Hub, the SEO recommendations tool is your best bet for driving traffic to your site. The SEO tool in HubSpot is extensive, offering you specific optimizations on every page of content, but also on the greater on-site SEO level. The best part, you can make these SEO optimizations without a developer.
And I think the key, see a question from Kelly on how that's different from a Yoast plugin. I think the key to HubSpot's SEO tool is that it really does give you kind of a full picture analytics. Yoast is really helpful with like meta descriptions and looking at the front end. But HubSpot's tool gives you kind of a full page analysis, and it also helps you optimize based on your content and theme. So you can select the topic and make sure that your keyword clusters are all compliant. It's a bit of a bigger picture. Again, 100% agree that meta descriptions and SEO itself is important, but optimizing the full structure I think is really helpful. So we'll talk about that as well. Once you drive traffic to the optimized site, it's really important to understand how your users are interacting with the content. A lot of times the features that we use as marketers provide us insights and reports, which is great, but the ability to analyze and adapt based on those reports is what's really critical. We find a lot of times that sometimes there are IT constraints, coding restrictions that can inhibit how quickly you can make changes. And really there shouldn't be anything that's barring you from adjusting based on user engagement. So that being said, we'll look at how you can analyze your traffic and visitors to really convert and optimize your site for leads. Realistically, we're going to hit this point throughout. Your website really should be living and evolving. It should grow to reflect your conversion goals, your content goals, and should be really fine-tuned to how you speak to qualified leads and responding to the UX and content. So that being said, we're going to dive into tools that are kind of split up for insight and for optimization. We're going to keep hitting back on the points of focusing on optimizing and analyzing. So within CMS Hub, again, if you're using HubSpot for marketing enterprise, you may have some of these tools already. CMS Hub consolidates it into one place, and they also expand upon some of the testing features. So the two that we'll dive into pretty heavily today are options with custom dashboards. Within professional, you have access to 100 customer reports and 500 customer reports in enterprise, which you can then build into custom dashboards that can be delivered to the right people on your team at the right time. We'll also spend a good bit of time digging into adaptive and multivariate testing, which you can test 5 different page variations. It's a step deeper than A/B testing. I'd also love to hear people's experiences with that tool as well. Also included CTAs, again, a common tool used within enterprise, essentially the ability to see which buttons are driving clicks. You have dynamic and pop-up forms, which can be added to your site at any time and integrated in with your campaigns for overall reporting. Integrated traffic analytics, standard contact scoring for analyzing MQLs and SQLs, Google Search Console integration, and then you also have filtered analytics views with your lists and dashboards. So that's a high-level snapshot looking at tools that we consider for basic insights, analytics, reporting. Some of the tools that are included to help you then optimize based on your reports, they include conversational bots, chat bots, which we'll scrape the surface on a little bit. Again, we could go full in depth on bots alone today. Also include smart content, list segmentation, which can really help you power more personalized content, and a Facebook Messenger integration. Like Emily said, we'll go ahead and provide a full list breakdown of the tools and features that are included. These are just the ones that we want to hit on in depth today. So in the comments, I'd love to hear anyone who's using Enterprise Hub, if you've used the new adaptive testing feature. We'd love to discuss this a little bit more in depth in comments. This is a really powerful tool that's a little bit newer within HubSpot. Traditionally across the board, when you're testing for 2 different variations in an A/B test, you're comparing 2 static elements. The difference here, multivariate testing compares and contrasts subtle changes across the elements of a web page to gauge the overall impact towards a goal. So you can see we have an example here. HubSpot had actually a really great case study that we'll share as well. Right now they're looking at submission rate. Their goal is to build out different options where you can basically preset what your goal is, and then you can run up to 5 different variations of subtle changes, whether that's photo, content, structure, button prominence. They'll basically guide you to help optimize your pages or your landing pages to basically increase the chances of the goal being met here. So I think this is a helpful visual to really diving into what the difference is between A/B testing and adaptive testing. With an A/B test, you're forced into a 50-50 breakdown of traffic, and you also have that gap period where 50% of your visitors and users are actually seeing the, I don't want to say lesser, but in their view, the lesser version of the site. With adaptive testing, you reduce the time that your user has on looking at the less engaging content. It doesn't rely on a set sample size to run either. You essentially set the test to run and it will basically move until you have the ideal traffic hit. And then it automatically shifts the traffic towards the variation that performs the best with your goal in mind. So I have a quick visual on that. On the right, you can see how over time they begin to shift the shift traffic to the variation that is best converting. Right now, this is available for, you can run up to 5 variations at a time on website pages and landing pages in CMS Hub. In Marketing Enterprise, they do have this feature for landing pages only right now, given the fact that it's focused around increasing form conversions. Overall, removing the time and overhead of adapting your content interface for conversion-focused campaigns, because adaptive testing automatically scales and allocates the iteration that works to deliver your results and increase conversions faster. So outside of testing and outside of testing integrations within CRM, I think it's also important for us to cover some of the additional app integrations that are offered with CMS Hub. Realistically, your tech stack and tools should work seamlessly together and not against each other. Insights into your sales goals of how your target customers and accounts interact with your web content are helpful thanks to hundreds of integrations within the HubSpot ecosystem. I think the benefit that we find the most powerful using data integrations is the ability to then build custom dashboards that include data from the various sources as well. So you can tell a story of how your leads are responding to your site all in one place, which I think is really helpful rather than fragmenting into several different tools. We can also share a list of all the various integrations that are available. We'll dive into insights and analytics on page on the next slide. A couple of the ones that we see frequently used, Salesforce, Lead Feeder when you're looking at integrating sales and marketing tools, and also helping from an ABM standpoint. Now, a couple other ones that we think are really important to hit on for seamless integrations, Hotjar and Lucky Orange. You may be used to, if you're using Marketing Enterprise, you may be used to seeing some level of heat mapping on emails. Tools like Hotjar, we have an example here. Essentially, you can run Hotjar for a heat map on several different pages and see how people are actually interacting and engaging with your content on site. It's helpful from a UX standpoint on understanding if people are responding in a way different than you're testing up front. If elements seem clickable when they're not, etc. I think the real key here, again, you can use these integrations with any other tool, but the ability to then on the fly make changes accordingly is really powerful. We don't want people to be getting hung up on the ability to not adapt and adjust. So all in all, to build a scalable conversion strategy, your team needs to understand what's driving conversions from your ideal persona and why. That said, personalization is really critical here when you're thinking about optimizing your web content. On average, conversion rates are 20% higher when personalization is applied. That's across the board, web, email, content. 34% of consumers are actually more likely to make an unplanned purchase if a brand is personalizing content. And 84% of digital consumers take action based on personalized recommendations. Ultimately, it's very important to make sure that your content is converting. I will say, make sure that your data is up to speed. I get a lot of personalized emails for calorie. I do open those because it's funny, but also important to pay attention to your CRM and data quality as well when you are personalizing. Focusing in on contextual insights is critical to creating a more personalized marketing experience. There are several tools within the HubSpot interface, like chatbots, that can help deliver relevant content while gaining insights into a user's needs and the motivations. Overall, that can support in qualifying and identifying SQLs and assist in the nurturing process. We really want to dig in here on the importance that your website plays in supporting driving people from a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead. The more that you're able to integrate this information within your CRM, it's really helpful in engaging how users are actually responding to your content. We're big proponents of using chatbots for lead scoring as well. It's helpful for understanding the type of content that people are using, and it also helps create a more personalized experience to answer people's questions faster. I think especially for smaller teams, it's really critical if you have people wearing several hats within sales and marketing as well, the ability to bridge the gaps and answer some people's questions up front is really helpful. I also want to spend a little bit of time hitting on just the value of smart content. All in all, smart content can tailor your CTAs, your forms, and rich text modules on landing pages, web pages, and email based on the specific criteria you have stored in your CRM. I think frequently we spend a lot of time focusing on personalization for email and your campaign elements, and not as much time personalizing your website. With smart content, rich text modules, you can actually personalize based on criteria stored in the CRM. You can change the content shown on landing page modules and web page modules. So if you're messaging to a persona a certain way with your other campaign elements, you can also tailor the messaging that's on your site accordingly. Got an example on the bottom, Make Smart, again, setting it based on country, based on lifestyle, stage, list, membership, which can really be filtering for anything. Again, developing and targeting that personalized messaging by persona allows you to deliver the content based on interest or need. Now, shifting a little bit from content optimization to how this plays into conversions, a newer feature within CMS Enterprise and Professional Hub is contact attribution reporting. This is a good example of some of the dashboard reports that you can also create. We're big proponents of utilizing the recurring dashboards to deliver reports to the different teams. It's also helpful in kind of curating a high-level snapshot into what's performing. So we pulled together a couple of examples of some really valuable preset reports. Again, you can create custom reports, but I don't want to discount the pre-built reports that Hubspot's put together. There are a couple of different elements here. Campaigns by contacts created. All of these are looking at basically what is powering leads and conversions. So we have a report here that actually looks at what campaigns generated the most conversions, the content type. So whether you have people coming in through email, through form submission, through chatbot, et cetera. And actually the content title by contacts created is really valuable for your content team when you're thinking about your overall content strategy. The ability to see the titles and the topics that are actually driving the most conversions, I think is really powerful when you're planning to start to scale this. Ultimately, our main message here is focusing in on finding what works and repeating it, and then tailoring what doesn't work. Now, from reports, again, you can build up to 100 custom reports and 500 in professional versus enterprise. So really based on any criteria that you have in your CRM, you can filter and build out an overall engagement report of how people are using your site and digesting your content. We'll share a couple of different resources. I'd be curious to see how people are using recurring dashboards. We basically build them out based on different teams. So you can deliver an internal dashboard with some of the elements that we touched on in the last slide to your team to better show what is performing and what's not. Really powers here are endless. We also use it, from a sales perspective to help deliver to the sales team to bridge that gap on what content and which teams' target accounts are engaging on your site as well. All in all, by removing the pain points of web management and refocusing your efforts on data-driven optimizations, you're able to improve the overall user experience and ultimately your bottom line.
Speaking of bottom line, how do you convince your boss that this may be a worthwhile investment? Or if you already have the CMS Hub, how do you prove its value? Because let's face it, you can basically host a website for free with other platforms. And I say free because it's almost never free once you factor in the cost of everything needed to host, develop, maintain, etc. With CMS Hub and its fully integrated reporting capabilities, something like this becomes possible to not only put dollar amounts to, but to set goals around. As we go into 2021, marketers should be creating goals focused on improving their traffic to lead and lead to MQL conversion rates. With CMS Hub, as you just heard, gaining those insights and optimizing to hit those goals is absolutely possible. So how do you prove the return? Val and I felt like it was important to touch on the idea of revenue attribution reporting and really proving the value of what you have the capabilities of doing here.
Yeah, overall with attribution reporting, you have the ability to provide value and tailor to those conversions. You're able to analyze your web content that's driving the highest deals, the campaigns driving conversions, last touch assets before conversion, and more. There are 2 different levels. There's linear and multi-touch attribution models. Linear, you're looking at the single element. Multi-touch is kind of painting a full picture for you here. Now, this is available within Enterprise CMS Hub. Within the value of attribution reporting, essentially looking at a linear model here, this really helps paint a full picture of not just what's influencing leads, but this is taking you across the board from leads to actual close. Again, I know we talked a little bit about app integrations earlier. You may be using CMS, you may be using Sales Hub. If you're using QuickBooks, if you're using Salesforce, all of those are also integrations that you can tie your deals back in. I think this is a really powerful report here that we run. What content is influencing your highest value lead to close? This is actually looking at, again, highest value invoice within a set period of time. And it gives you a full breakdown of the picture of what took them there, what their last touches were. Again, you have marketing email, visitors page, integration. And I'm on the next slide. I actually kind of paint a full picture here. Again, with our video attribution, you're able to really follow a user's path from visitor to converted lead. More importantly, you're understanding the touches that influence along the way. It's really indispensable for crafting and refining that integrated sales and marketing strategy with your website at the heart. And then here's another one of the reports that we built out. And again, you have several customized versions that are included. This is actually looking at that deal stage that we had on the last slide, and it's breaking down exactly what happened prior to convert. So you can see which website page they touched, the pages viewed, CTA clicked, the page that they viewed before there. So it really takes you through the different paths. And then in this instance, again, product purchased was the product page and content they were interacting with. So being able to see from a high level, the pathway as well also helps you refine and understand any pain points or areas where users may be bouncing off. So I think looking at, again, bounce rate, and I would say it's just as important to also analyze those that don't close. It's really important to make sure that you have the sales and marketing team to align. So again, as you are digging into what is working, I think it's just as critical to dig into what's not working. But again, thanks to the overall ease of use with CMS Hub, it's really easy to make those changes that may be barring people from converting or moving further down the funnel.
Kind of a real world example of this. I had a client yesterday tell us about a lead that came in. They could see from start to finish the pieces of content they touched, the assets on the site that they engaged with, a real full picture story from direct traffic to the site, through chatbot engagements, through various blog subscriptions and things like that, all the way to the deal closing the other day. So it was awesome to see that and to be able to know, some of those touch points that led to that deal closing in the future as we concept some strategies moving forward. So as you may have seen some of the promo, we wanted to get a couple of voices from the group involved here. So we got some various perspectives. First, we're going to hear from Michael Christian, just kind of on what he's hearing in the industry now around websites, and how a lot of people are feeling like they need a website, but they don't know what they need it for, and they don't know the full potential of really what it could do for them. So we want to hear from him a little bit on that. And then we'll close out with Kelly Buck, a new CMS hub, I guess old and now new again. So awesome. Michael, are you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Valerie and Emery, thank you so much for putting this information together. It's been a wealth of information, a lot of stuff that even I spend day in and day out on this stuff. I still picked up some couple of tidbits, so thank you. But my perspective is a little bit different, meaning, I'm talking to prospective clients every day that are looking for websites, and that typically is the conversation. How it starts is that we need a new website, and when you dig into it and ask the right questions, what they really want or what they really need is lead gen. They're looking for leads. Either their sales are flatlining or declining, and they think their digital footprint or their portal, meaning their website, is the cause of it. And a lot of times their website has been a little antiquated. If it's been more than 24 months, some 5 or 6 years since they've redone the website, and it just needs a refresh and new content. But the debate is always where to build the infrastructure. do they build it on the WordPress they came from, or do they look at the CMS hub and think about it? And it really depends on what you want. If you're looking to keep a brochure as a website and placeholder, I mean, probably WordPress is fine. Nothing wrong with WordPress has been around for a long time. But if you're really trying to build that lead generation and that hardest working sales rep you got in your camp meeting your website, you need to think about the business intelligence that could be generated by the likes of a platform like the CMS hub. What it always tends to come down to a lot of times is cost. They think about their site they're hosting on GoDaddy or whatever platform that costs them, $25, $26 a month, or even a year sometimes if they're doing very simple processes, versus the $300 a month they're going to pay for the CMS. And what we found in this process from beginning to end is you're either going to pay upfront or pay later. Meaning, even though the WordPress sites are deemed free, if you really want them to work and really want them to drive business and leads like you have, you're going to really have to keep the plugins, keep things up to date, and that costs money. And also, if your staff internally is not up to date or have the chops to do it, you're going to have to pay somebody to do it. We had an instance not too long ago where we had a client that we talked about this and debated, and they decided to go, with the WordPress route. And then in the interim, in the middle of this process, the person that they had that was pretty secure on the WordPress platform left the organization. And now, they're having to go outside and find somebody or service to be able to supplement that and keep the plugins correct, keep the security levels high, and watch that site. And it's going to cost them, minimum of $300 or $400 a month to have that kind of on standby service. One of the big things for me when I talk about the CMS hub is this takes you out of the web maintenance business and keeps you in the marketing business. And the web maintenance business meaning, if the site goes down or malware hits your site, you're having to scramble to figure out how to put it back up. And sometimes, a lot of times, it can be very critical for your business if it's down a day or two or even a couple hours. Whereas I'll knock on wood somewhere, the run rate and the security rate of HubSpot has been second to none. I think they've got, you guys can back me up on this. I think it's less than a 2% issue with being down. And when it's down, it's usually back up within half hour, if you've ever had that issue. But it takes you out of that business, but also too, but doing small things, like if you wanted to change content on the site, including images or information on there, instead of having to put in change orders and have somebody put it in the timeline or in their timeline to change it, you can go in and change these things on the fly. It's pretty intuitive. I always say that I'm not the most technical person in our group, but being able to go in and change things on the website would be fairly easy. For me, on a self-guided tour through the Hubspot Academy, figuring out, or if I had to pick up the phone and call the help desk, which you're entitled to, based on your membership, to have somebody walk you through it. I think it's something that's a big value that you're getting there, to be able to have total autonomy on your content. So it's, again, I always say it's you pay now or you pay later, but it just takes you out of that web maintenance business and out of that headache of the technical side, and focus you more on the business development. On the lead generation and the marketing side.
Yeah, I think you touched on a great point too, is the HubSpot support is unmatched in the industry, and just having access to that with the ease of the CMS hub is together just crazy.
Yeah, so it's a very good tool.
All right, Kelly, you want to give us some of your perspective on coming back to CMS hub as a new user?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Kelly. A lot of you guys know me. Used to work with this awesome team at Stratagon, and had a great opportunity to come and be a solo marketer, which some of the people on this call, I know that's the lives you guys are living at the moment. So you're having to do everything. And for me, that is what really informed the decision, because I've been in WordPress, I've played with that, been in Wix and all of those other Squarespace, all of the other platforms, CMSs that you've used to build a site. And what it came back to me was, okay, I'm going to be the one that has to do everything with this. I'm going to have to make all these updates, going to have to create all of the content, be able to build it and adapt it. And when I took all of that experience of those other platforms and all of the things that just kind of come with that make it a little difficult for a solo marketer, because I'm not a developer at all, it was a no-brainer for CMS for me. In terms of the buying experience, it was a little bit more expensive than some of the other options we were looking at. So I don't want to sugarcoat that any, but for everything that everybody has said before, the reporting that I know that we're going to get, the opportunity to do multivariate tests, and again, just that opportunity for me to say, okay, we have a campaign that's going on, and I want the people that are targeted for this campaign or these large specific cities and municipalities to get a completely different experience on our website is going to be huge as we're thinking about opportunities for account-based marketing and personalization by where these people come from. I mean, the CMS Hub gives you a lot of those opportunities like further down the road that I'm already thinking about and planning about to be able to implement. Now, I'm not there yet. We just got it, I think, when was that signed, Michael? Maybe 30 days ago?
30 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
The 5th.
The 5th, yeah. So, I mean, not even 30 days. And I'm very much in the, okay, well, I need to build on and fix kind of what's broken. And I started kind of playing in the existing WordPress block that we had, but just all of the limitations of, okay, I want content side by side. Crap, I don't know how to develop that and get into HTML and make it position appropriately. And so I've completely like abandoned the WordPress side until we get the Hubspot one, and we're making a couple little adjustments based off of the migration that they did prior to launching. And it's just way easier to where this week I have essentially completely uprooted and adjusted our website and going to be posting it at the end of the week. And I didn't touch a line of code, which is wonderful and amazing for a marketer. So the other thing I'll say that's big for me is we went and purchased a theme from the marketplace, because I've got one site that we brought over and migrated from WordPress, and we have another entity. If you Google EEA companies right now, you're not going to find a website. So I'm in the process of building that. And so we went on the marketplace, bought a theme, and essentially in 4 days, I've built an entire website on my own with all of the reporting, all of the power from the marketing side of things, from pre-bought stuff. And again, I've not touched a single line of code, which has been wonderful. Not to say that our wonderful developers, I think Eveldis is on this call somewhere, love the work that you do. It's nowhere near as powerful as it could be. But for a solo marketer like me, it's game changing that I don't have to go out and find a developer to hire and build on this site and not be able to make the changes as our marketing strategy comes in.
We wanted to take this opportunity to take any questions. Again, like the Stratagon team, myself and Valerie, we really truly see the value in what CMS Hub offers and the ability to gain insights and truly just optimize your site for lead conversions. So
I'm also curious, anyone who's using other tools, I'd like to also hear how you're kind of integrating it with your other marketing tools as well. So what you're using on HubSpot, on any other challenges.
So while everybody thinks about that, I'll just make a quick comment. One of the things that you may have missed, and I don't know how many of the folks on the call are already running the CMS, but if you're not, you're considering it. One of the things he mentioned is that, HubSpot basically migrated his site. That's one of the things that we always hear. There are certainly some levels of complexity of site where HubSpot won't do it. And, oftentimes then, we'll get the call to take care of the more advanced things. But if you are working with a client or you're a client yourself and have a fairly straight line web migration, they will migrate it as a part of the purchase of the, the service, which I think is just tremendously valuable in terms of, getting past go. You may go back later and need to rebuild a site and do something totally custom. That's great. But just the ability to get up and get on the platform that just removes a huge barrier. So something to keep in mind if you're considering it.
I've had the opportunity to work quite a bit with that migration team, and it's very rare that that they won't touch something. The only thing they tend to have a little bit of reservation about, if there's complexity to the site, that if you have like some type of a login for clients or some kind of a portal, but you can always redirect that somewhere else. But that's the only thing that tends to cause them pause. But for the most part, I haven't had too many sites that they've vetted and gone through and said, "Yeah, we won't touch this at all." So it's a very good service that they offer, and it's pretty seamless.
Yeah, I'll say that from experiencing that here recently, the fact that they were able to lift and shift everything from that WordPress side and being in the back end of WordPress, that was actually a pretty strong consideration for our team, and like a headache where it's like, okay, if we're going to a new site, does that mean we have to go blank? Like if it comes over, what's going to be broken? How are we going to fix it? And essentially everything that we had on our previous site was migrated over perfectly. So they did an awesome job, and honestly in a pretty quick time frame. I know we were pushing on some things, but it was a great time frame. Within a couple weeks, had that shifted over and migrated.
Any other questions from the team? I am just going to show. Feel free to grab this QR code. I know everybody's pretty handy with the QR codes these days. They're pretty much everywhere. So feel free to join us on LinkedIn, join the conversation. We're really trying to get the Triad Hubspot user group LinkedIn page to be a resource hub for some of these topics and questions that come up. So feel free to join the conversation there. We got our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and our community page as well. As for our next event, 2021, we're aiming for January 15th, and that's what we have now. If you hop onto the community page and submit to be a subscriber, you will receive any of the updates on our next event there. So,
yeah, and we always want to have everyone else weigh in on topics as well. So if there's something in particular that you all want to either present on, have someone in mind that could dig into some of these topics as well. I know Service Hub is one area that we haven't touched on very heavily. I think especially now it's a pretty powerful area for us to spend some more time on. So would love to hear everyone's input, thoughts, especially going into the new year. What's on everyone's mind for 2021?
I think as we just kind of touched on revenue attribution too, we know that's a huge topic in the industry as well, a little bit more advanced, but the end goal for us marketers for sure. So
I think one thing that keeps popping up is data cleanliness and data cleanup strategies. Like you guys hit on a little bit of personalization and old calorie popping up, but like some very practical examples of ways that like you can workshop that with a team as a marketer to be able to say, hey, here's how you create like data cleanup strategies and CMS management. Like that would be huge, a huge topic I think would be beneficial going into the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, good suggestion. All right, guys, everybody ready for the Thanksgiving week next week? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, we hope everybody has a happy and safe holiday week. We'll be in discussions in some of those community groups, but otherwise we will touch base after the new year for our next event. So
thanks everyone.
Thanks, Emily. Val.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Bye.
Thank you.